and welcome to One Family, One Menu. Today we are making two social distance salsas, my mango salsa and pico de gallo, and you are going to love it. Today, we're going to make two different salsas, my mango salsa and pico de gallo. But before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and like this video. All right, everyone, let's begin by making our mango salsa. But first, let me tell you which ingredients you are going to need. 1 medium mango diced, half of a green bell pepper diced, 2 cloves of garlic minced, 1 tablespoon of chopped cilantro, 1 plum tomato diced, 1 jalapeno diced, half of a medium-sized yellow onion also diced, the juice of 1 lime, some oregano, olive oil, pepper, and salt. All right, so let's begin by chopping our onion. And in this specific recipe, and any salsa recipe that you make, you don't really need a lot of bowls to pour things in. You can just put it in the main bowl because you're gonna mix everything together. So that way you dirty less dishes. Let's start with our onion. We're gonna start by chopping and dicing our onion, half of it. And what you want to do is you want to cut it like so on the ridges that the onion already has. So the onion itself is helping you out. And then you're just going to chop. I like my salsas chunky. I don't like them watery. I prefer to have a bite when I make them and when I eat it. If you don't, then you can obviously chop even smaller, I should say. You can chop everything even smaller than I do. I prefer, like I said, a bite. All right, now let's continue with our bell pepper. I have my trusty bowl where I put all my trash. Don't forget to put a bowl for the trash next to you because you don't want to be running back and forth to the trash can. I deveined my green bell pepper, the half of the green bell pepper, and now I'm going to chop it up and dice it. This is a green bell pepper, and bell peppers are usually sweet, and it gives it a nice crunch and sweetness to the salsa. And bell peppers are very, very flavorful. Now we're going to cut our tomato and dice it. And make sure your knife is very sharp because the tomato will let you know if it is not. Okay, you want it to be seamless, and then once it's split in half like this, you're going to cut it in quarters and seed it out. Again, make sure you have your nice trusty trash bowl next to you. It could be any bowl. You're gonna wash it anyway. So you're gonna seed that out. You're gonna leave the skin on. Now we're gonna dice our tomato. And while we dice this tomato, I wanna let you know that the mango salsa, the reason why I love it so much is because it has that bite of sweetness in it. And when you put it in your mouth, it's like a party in your tongue because it has the sweetness of the mango and of the bell peppers, and then the sour tanginess of the lime and the sort of spiciness of the onion, and then the true spiciness of the jalapeno. Okay, now I am going to cut and dice the jalapeno. If you are a person that is not very careful and you put your hands in your eyes, which you shouldn't be doing anyway, because we are in the middle of a pandemic, 6 feet apart, you should wear gloves for this. I don't usually do that, and I am very careful. I am also a spicy lover, so I am going to leave some of the seeds of my jalapenos in. And again, if you do not like it very spicy, you don't have to put the entire jalapeno. You don't have to put the seeds. If you like it spicier, you can add another half of a jalapeno or two. I don't know. Maybe you want to burn up. Now, let's put this in here in our bowl along with the rest of our mixture. Let's pour in our mango carefully, not to spill it. Oof, so good already. I feel like taking a bite of it. And let's mix it a bit before we add the garlic and cilantro. Let's add it. Let's add the 2 cloves of fresh minced garlic. Now, we're gonna take some cilantro, make sure you wash it ahead of time, and we're gonna chop off roughly 1 tablespoon of it. I love cilantro, and just like everything else I tell you, you should definitely use as much as you want. If you like more than this, use more. If you don't like it at all, don't use it. You can substitute it for parsley. I particularly don't love parsley. I like it in certain dishes, not in all dishes. I prefer cilantro. It's a flavor I grew up with. That's about a tablespoon. And let's add our seasoning. Now, I have some oregano here. The recipe, it says half a teaspoon. I'm gonna add roughly that. You can sprinkle it like this if you like oregano. If you don't like oregano, you don't have to add it, or you can add thyme instead, which is very tasty also, and is a great substitute for oregano in certain meals. Now, let me see what I'm missing. I need some pepper to taste. I need some salt also to taste. This is gray French salt I'm using this time. I love different salts and the way they season and the different flavors they produce and highlight. It's really nice. And before I add my olive oil, I'm going to squeeze 1 lime juice. You can squeeze more. I like it tangy. So, I'm gonna do 1 lime juice. I'm gonna use my lime squeezer. Oh, so good. So, now that we have our lime in there, before we stir it again, we are going to put a little bit of olive oil. Make sure you use your good olive oil because you're going to taste it in this recipe. Good olive oil is super important when you're making things that are not going to go through heat, because then the flavors of the olive oil come out and intensifies the other flavors as well. Okay, so we added about a teaspoon, well, a little more than a teaspoon of olive oil, of extra virgin olive oil. Very good quality one. Now we're moving it around, seeing if it needs anything else. I don't think I've forgotten anything. So now it's the best time during a recipe, the taste test. Oof, I love this one. All right. Alrighty. Salud. Okay, everyone, so we are done with recipe numero 1, mango salsa, and now we are going to make recipe numero 2, pico de gallo. So, to start, let me give you the ingredients so you know what to use. We have 4 plum tomatoes diced. I also had 4 cherry tomatoes that I used because I didn't want to waste them, so waste nothing, use everything. Half an onion diced, a quarter of a green bell pepper diced, a quarter of a red bell pepper diced, 1 jalapeno diced, 2 garlic cloves minced. I use 3 small ones, but if you have 2 medium-sized ones, that's fine too. Oregano, lime for seasoning, and salt, pepper, olive oil, and 1 tablespoon of cilantro chopped. All right, so I am chopping up these cherry tomatoes. I already chopped most of my tomatoes and chopping these tomatoes to put them in there. I don't like wasting food, so I had these, and I love tomatoes. Frankly, I eat tomatoes just like that by themselves. All right, let's move forward. We're now gonna be chopping our onion. Let me give you a little bit of a tip to chop your onion. You see this little part of the onion, the bottom of the onion? Well, you're gonna leave it there if possible, because that's going to help you not cry while you chop the onion. Why, you say? Well, cutting this off will release the gases that make you cry, and you will tear more easily if this is not on than if it is. So try to leave that on. I'm going to slice my onion this way and this way, like so. Remember, the little onions, not little, have ridges already on them, so you can guide yourself by those when you're going to make your cuts, so you know more or less where to do that. All right, so now we're going to chop, 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 chop. Alrighty, so now let's move on to cutting 1/4 of a green bell pepper. The green bell peppers are amazing. They give it such a sweetness and bite and crunch to any salsa. It's just very, very, very nice. All right, so the 1/4 of that pepper is in there already and diced. We're gonna do our red bell pepper. All right, now we're going to dice our jalapeno, and I already cleaned it out. If you don't like too spicy, you can add half of it. If you like it super spicy, you can add more jalapeno to it than one. You can add half of one or 2 jalapenos instead of 1. So jalapeno's done. It's in here. We're almost ready for the salsa. We're now going to be adding this minced garlic, 2 minced garlic cloves. These are the garlic cloves we're going to add right here, like so. Nice. All right, now we are going to go for our chopped cilantro. I'm going to take roughly 1 tablespoon. Now I will be adding some of my oregano, which in the recipe I have half a teaspoon, but you can add less or more if you want. All right, let's do our lime. We're almost ready to eat this, and I am dying to do it. All right, the juice of 1 lime. If you don't have limes available, you can use lemon. I prefer lime for this. It has a bit of, it's more tangy, and lemons are a little sweeter. And for this specific sauce, I prefer lime even more because of its tanginess. All right, so now we're going to continue to season our Pico de Gallo. We're going to use really good quality olive oil, and that's going to make the flavors even better. It's going to highlight everything. A teaspoon is good, but I think I'm adding a little bit more because I really like the olive oil taste to come out, the extra virgin olive oil. Some freshly cracked pepper, because there is nothing like freshly cracked pepper. Trust me. And some salt to taste. All right, so this we're gonna toss around with the spoon, and we're going to mix it well. The juices of the tomato are gonna come out and continue to marinate every single piece of veggie in there, and it's going to be a party in your mouth. I like this salsa very much because I really enjoy savory dishes, and I like how this coats my tongue and makes it even a little bit tingly, and it's just an explosion of flavors in your mouth. And I really like I said before, intense flavors. Let's taste this to make sure that it doesn't need any more seasoning and that it's just right. Oh my God. And here are both salsas. You can see them and compare them side to side. They're great to serve for guests after the pandemic. 6 feet apart, 6 feet apart. All right, everyone, so that was our mango salsa and Pico de Gallo recipe. I hope you enjoyed it, and please go to onefamilyonemenu.com to find these recipes and more. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you soon. And also, wear a mask.